Okay, class, we need to get out your Gustar notes, if you have them, and add some things to them. If you don't have them, make sure they are added to your notes by your next binder check. And there will still be some sentences that you need to write, and you should still pay attention to this lesson because this is really our class time for going over it. So here we go. Some things that you should know. One, your notes should already look like this, except for where I have the green boxes covering things up. We're going to add the information that is behind them. Let's see what we are adding. Okay, so let's review first what we should know. In order to have a complete Gustar sentence, or a sentence that uses a verb that works like Gustar, you have to have an indirect object pronoun that matches the person, and you have to have either gusta or gustan. So you might have a complete sentence with just two words, les gusta. And what would that mean? Well, you have to look at the verb to see who the subject or what the subject is. If it's gusta, your subject is he, she, it, or you formal. So it is pleasing to them, or you guys. That is what the sentence les gusta would mean. What if I had a sentence with these two words? It's hard to circle with a mouse. This sentence says, if you just have te gustan, ask yourself what the subject is. It would be they, or you guys, but usually you're talking about things with these types of verbs. They are pleasing to you, or you like them. That's how these verbs work. Let's try one more. If I had a sentence with just these two words, nos gusta, what would that mean? Well, my subject is probably it is pleasing to us. We like it. Of course, as you can tell from the larger version of our notes, you might have more information to the left or the right. This is a lot of information. That's why if you listened to the directions and understood them, you took your note paper and you turned it to the side so that you had all this room to write left to right. That's what I was asking you to do. I'm sorry if you didn't understand that, but that would make things easier if it was this way. So, looking at your notes, you can use a plus me with an accent, t without an accent, or any of these other choices to clarify or emphasize the IOP. Because if my sentence was just le gustan, it would be saying they are pleasing to him, her, or it. I wouldn't know who this le refers to without extra clarification. So I might have to clarify and say, I'm Max, le gusta. And then be Max likes it. But what if I don't know what it is? Well, where do subjects usually go in these type of sentences? All the way to the right, because Gustar sentences work backwards. So your subject might be a singular noun, so like the coffee, it is pleasing to him. Or you might say drinking coffee is pleasing, and so that activity, it is pleasing to him. Or you might say that books, a plural noun, they are pleasing to him. They work backwards. So what are these things called that you clarify or emphasize with? They are called objects of prepositions. Because you make your notes nice and neat and spread out, you should have room to say use objects of prepositions. Why do I have parentheses around here? Because this part is optional. As I was mentioning before, you don't have to have this part unless you need it for clarification or emphasis. All right, what else can you have or should have in your notes? I have this squeezed in here because I don't have more room on my screen. But if you want no in a Gustar sentence, it goes right here before your indirect object pronouns. So if you have a little bit more space between this section and your must-have section, That's where no goes. If you're going to have no in a sentence, it goes here. Or you can write it and draw an arrow, but it goes right here. So if I want to say I don't like something, a mí no me gusta. I don't like it. You should have a box around this must-have section. And if you don't, add it now. What else are we going to add to our notes? We're going to add right here that gustar is conjugated for the subject. What is the subject? It's this part over here, which can be the singular noun, the verb infinitive, or the plural noun. I have parentheses around the subject section because, as you know, subjects can be left out of sentences in Spanish if it's not needed for clarification, and that's why we wrote this information. What do we need to add here? El or la plus the singular noun. If you're going to say that coffee is pleasing to Max, you have to say el café. Even though I'm not saying, I might just say coffee is pleasing to Max, he likes coffee. In Spanish, you have to have the el or la in front of your singular noun. So what do you have to have in front of your plural noun? Los or las plus your plural noun. So please, as nicely and neatly as you can, squeeze in, put in this information. You have to have el or la in front of your singular noun, and you have to have los or las in front of your plural noun. Let's add an example sentence. Where are you going to add that, you might be asking, because you already have so much info on it. Well, this example sentence can go quite a bit further down on your page. I just don't have more room. It can go right above or below where you have this arrow that says Gustar sentences work backwards. You do not have to add this right here. That's just a note to myself. So down at the bottom of your page, you're going to write an English pair of sentences and Spanish translation, and our example sentence is going to be Juan likes tacos. He likes them. And in English, that's how we would say that. But what are you literally saying if you're using the verb gustar? Because it doesn't really mean to like, it actually means to be pleasing to. What you're literally saying is tacos are pleasing to Juan. They are pleasing to him. For some people, it helps them to think of this chart, like a flow chart we sort of have, left to right or right to left. And for others, it helps them to think of the literal translation. So we are including an example of that. Let me get in and type. So, if I'm saying Juan likes tacos, what I'm really saying is tacos are pleasing to him, to Juan. Because in Spanish, if something's happening to or for someone, you must have an IOP. So, my subject is los tacos. Then I ask myself, because I have to put los in front of it, because it's a plural noun. I ask myself, maybe don't write that yet, because I'm working backwards. If I'm saying they are pleasing to him, what form of gustar do I need? I need gustan. So that's going to go right in front of los tacos. And then I need to have an IOP in front of the conjugate verb. If Juan likes them, which IOP will I have? Well, he likes them, so le. And this sentence is a lovely sentence right now, but it doesn't have Juan anywhere in the sentence. And so how do I add that? I put a in front and then his name. A Juan le gustan los tacos. Now I have the correct way to write this sentence. He, Juan, likes tacos. Tacos are pleasing to Juan. Why is it le? To match Juan. Why is it gustan? Conjugated for tacos. They are pleasing to him. So now that's all I'm saying is they are pleasing to him. And you might think to yourself, well, ellos, gustan. But again, we work backwards. And if you remember from your possessive notes, if you're talking about inanimate objects, we don't say ellos. So all I need is an IOP and a form of gustar. If they are pleasing to Juan, gustan, and they're pleasing to him, le. Le gustan. Okay, so that's that sentence. He likes them. Please include those sentences in your notes. Hopefully that made a little bit of sense to you. If not, come see me with questions because this is a Spanish 1 topic. And review. Speaking of review, you next have this information in your notes. How do you decide if you want gustar or gustan? You always look at what directly follows gustar. If the subject, whatever is pleasing to the person, is a singular noun, you take your IOP plus gusta plus your L or la. If it's a verb infinitive, IOP, gusta plus your verb infinitive. If it's your plural noun, it's IOP plus gustan plus los or las. And of course, in front of your IOP, you might say whoever. So this is more of a left to right approach. Moving on, have a little look at this practice exercise. It says Sandra is describing what her family likes to do. Choose the correct form of the verbs between parentheses, part plus infinitive in order to complete each phrase. There's nothing in parentheses. It's choose the correct option after. So, looking at these, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, ask yourself which option will fit for each blank. So, a mí, will it be me gustan or me gusta los deportes? A mi hermano, will it be le gusta or les gusta ir al cine? Please, at this point in time, honest to goodness, pause the video and make your choices. Jot them down, list them in your head, and then press play again and check your answers. So go ahead right now, press pause. Okay, now I'm going to go over the answers. So if you haven't paused yet, please do so. Which one's going to be the answer for this one? Well, they both have me, so you have to decide gustan or gusta. How do you decide gusta or gustan? You look at what directly follows it, and if it's a plural noun, it has to be gustan, because you're saying sports are pleasing to me. They are pleasing to me. All right, in number 2, the only difference is le or lace. They're both gusta, because if it's followed by a verb infinitive, it has to be gusta. So now I have to decide le or lace. Well, you decide on your IOP based on your person. Going to the movies is pleasing to him. Just one person, so le gusta. In number 3, my choices are le gustan or les gusta. Ooh, all the choices. So we're saying they don't like to stay at home. So if it's they don't like, that would be lace. Let's put this over here and make sure that that works. And it's gusta because it's followed by a verb infinitive. So this is your answer for number 3. Number 4, a Carlos y a mí. Well, that's saying Carlos and I like something, so it's definitely going to be nos. And then it's la música clásica. We like classical music. We like it. This is singular, so we need gusta. And a ustedes would be les. And why is it gustan? Because video games. Video games are pleasing to you guys. They are pleasing to you guys, so gustan. Hopefully you guys got those right when you were trying them on your own. Moving on again, you also have in your notes that gustar means to be pleasing. Literally, in English, we use it to say what someone likes. And cantar means to be enchanting. In English, we use it to say what someone loves. You might remember from Spanish 1 that tocar in English means it's someone's, if it's used like gustar, it's used to say it's someone's turn to do something, and parecer is to seem. So let's do some example sentences at the end of our notes. And this is the part that if you don't happen to have your notes on you, you can go ahead and should go ahead and do these now for your assignment. We need some example sentences, and they can go on a separate sheet and then be put in your binder if you don't have your notes on you. Let's pick something out. Blank and blank like the blank. Literally, you're saying the blank is pleasing to blank and blank. Well, let's fill in these blanks. That's a lot of information. So I'm going to grab your guys' set of class note cards with your names on them, and we will fill in the blanks. So I just drew Aiden's name, so we will say Aiden and Maddie. That's what I just drew. Maddie like the blank. Let's look at our vocab list. And what do I want to say that they like? They like the, oh, I don't know, the stereo? Sure, the stereo. So write that example sentence in your notes and also add the literal translation. The stereo is pleasing to Aiden and Maddie. Skip a line, write that one Spanish sentence that would work. Go to your notes and you will say the stereo, so that will go all the way to the right, is pleasing, it is pleasing. If it's pleasing to Aiden and Maddie, it would be pleasing to them, so you need lace. And that's a lovely sentence, but we need clarification, so you would say Aiden, Maddie. And put it all together and you will have your sentence. Let's try another example sentence. Blank and I like blanks. Alright, let's draw another name. Alex. Alex and I like, let's use some more vocab. This time let's go to the neighborhood box. Sure, like sidewalks. It was the first thing that I saw. Sounds good. Like sidewalks. Okay, so if you're rephrasing this, the sidewalks are pleasing to Alex and me. And you might say, Profe, isn't it Alex and I? Not in this case. And then go through your notes or go back in the video and ask yourself, how will I write that sentence? You can decide if you want to go left to right or right to left, but you're going to pick out something. You need an IOP that matches the person. You need to decide Gustar or Gustan based on your subject of sidewalks. Alright, back to our example sentences that you need in your notes. You guys like to blank blanks. Alright, let's see if we have a verb in our vocab. Oh my gosh, you guys don't have any verbs in your vocab list, so let's see here. Let's just say to use stoves. Why not? So you guys like to use stoves. Using stoves is pleasing to you guys. So write both of these English sentences down and then you'll write down your Spanish translation. And how will you do it? Well, your only choices for your subject are nouns or a verb infinitive. And so that means you can only use the verb infinitive of to use. Usar, U-S-A-R. And that's going to be all the way to the right. And then you're going to say stoves is pleasing to you guys. So go left to right or right to left, whatever makes the most sense in your brain. And skip line Spanish translation.